What's up guys and girls, welcome to another God of War video. In this video I want to give my theory on why Thor finally attacked after waiting for 3 years. This is something I've been thinking about for a while now, so I'm glad to bring you all my theory. Here are some of the correct answers in the previous trivia question. Even though there are a lot of people who got it right, there are some people who did get it wrong, but shoutouts to everybody who at least tried. Hopefully you can get this one correct. This trivia question is, after beating this boss character, this character's last words were, "Your suffering will never end, Ghost of Sparta." Who was this character? Type your answers now, and in the next video, I'll put up the correct answers. And on your way back up, please hit that like button. I'm sure you guys have noticed that I went from 44,000 subscribers to 50,000 within 2 weeks because you all have been hitting that like button, getting the video out there. So I really do appreciate it if you just smash it. It takes 2 seconds of your time. But anyways, let's get right into this video. For this theory, I have 2 possible explanations, but before that, here are some details I want you to know first. What we know about Thor. First, Eric Williams did confirm that it is Thor saying, "Are you a calm and reasonable person?" in the trailer. Here is Eric Williams saying that.
The last game ended with a teaser of sorts for Thor, and I just gotta know, was that Thor's voice we heard in the trailer just a few minutes ago?
That was definitely Thor's voice that we heard in the trailer. Thor is being played by Ryan Hurst, which you might know him from Sons of Anarchy. He played Opie, one of my favorite characters ever. And we're just delighted to have him come play in the God of War sandbox. And his take on Thor and our take visually on Thor is very different than the hunky Australian you might know. You know, he's much closer to the Norse mythology version. You know, he's this big, burly, almost hedonistic man-child, red hair, you know, left-handed, just a little off-kilter than the Thor that a lot of people know right now. So I can't wait for people to experience more of that when the game's done.
Also on the PS block, it says very openly that Thor is out for revenge over his 2 sons, Modi and Magni, and is going to be one of the main antagonists of the game. Please keep this in mind when we dive into this theory. So my first explanation is Odin told Thor not to attack Kratos and Atreus and to delay his own attack. We learned from Eric Williams that Odin is sitting around just doing his own thing. This is the opposite of what we learned about Odin in God of War 2018. There was a point where he was actively doing many things to prevent his own death, so why did he change? In my mind, I believe he's found a way to stop his own death in Ragnarok. We learned in God of War 2018, Fenrir is already locked in Asgard. Once Ragnarok comes, the creature who was supposed to eat him can no longer do so. So with him having the wolf locked up already, this ensures that he won't die. I think now that he believes he will be okay when Ragnarok comes, so now he's just sitting around just doing his own thing. This is why he let the wolves chase the sun and the moon, and Mimir did say that a battle fought on his timeline that he controls is a battle he can win. Here is Mimir saying that quote as well.
But Ragnarok is supposed to be Odin's doom, isn't it? Why would he set the wolves loose if it fulfills the prophecy?
Precisely the question, lad. It's always about control. The wolves determine when Ragnarok begins, and now he controls the wolves. A battle fought on his timetable is a battle he better stands to win.
I'm really glad Atreus asked that question. Why does Odin do the things that he does even though it'll probably start Ragnarok? I think that's pretty cool that Mimir believes that he wants to start it on his timetable. It's actually really smart. But what does this have to do with Thor? I think because Odin believes he won't die, there is no point in attacking us. Odin only does what is necessary, and he's already trapped Kratos in Midgard already and is watching them. I'm pretty sure some of you don't know this, so let me prove that. Evidence of this comes from lore and legends 1 year after the journey. In the story, Atreus notices a raven flying above him. He uses his power to feel the raven and realize it's hollow, so he shoots it down saying that it was one of Odin's ravens that is watching them. We also see ravens in the Ragnarok trailer while in Midgard. Also in Lore and Legends, it says Odin has completely locked Tyr's temple, so they can't go to any other realms. So at this point in the story, 1 year, we are locked inside of Midgard. It seems Odin has the ability to do this. If you read the description in Lore and Legends like Swavelheim and Vanaheim, it says Odin locked both of them for different reasons. So in Odin's mind, what's the point of having Thor attack the pair if they're docile? Attacking the pair may cause his own death by triggering a sequence of events that will change things. Odin is already on the path to victory. Attacking might alter that path. Let's say Thor attacks and Thor dies. Suddenly, one of Odin's strongest warriors is gone that the serpent is supposed to kill. So if the serpent doesn't kill Thor, maybe the serpent might kill Odin. It's kind of like a butterfly effect thing. And this is why I believe that Thor is not attacking. I think it's better to not attack than mess up something good. However, something changes. Somehow the knowledge of Tyr being alive actually comes to them, which makes Loki want to leave the forest in search of Tyr, which is strange because in God of War 2018, Mimir thought Tyr was dead himself. Here is Mimir saying, yes, that Tyr is dead. So, there is also that.
Isn't Tyr dead?
See, Mimir says there that Tyr's dead. We saw in the God of War Ragnarok trailer Atreus and Kratos having an argument whether they should go or stay, and of course Kratos wants to stay, but eventually he does give in to Atreus and they do agree to go find Tyr. I think Odin is seeing them through the Raven having this conversation, and eventually he wants to put his input into their conversation because he wants them to stay. So he sends Thor, and Thor shows up, at first talking to them saying, are you a calm and reasonable person, trying to convince the pair maybe to stay in Midgard and don't leave. This goes hand in hand with Atreus being a character who symbolizes change. You can't stop change, you can't force things to stay the same like Thor is trying to do. Things are going to be different, and Atreus going out of his way to leave the forest and find Tyr, causing more change in the world. I think that's why Thor shows up at first. He forces the journey to happen, and Thor clearly doesn't want them to leave. And I think that this is a really cool dynamic and plays into who Loki is as a character. So yeah, that's what I think. That's my first explanation. This second explanation is a bit more practical, and that's the time dilation thing. Remember what Mimir said when we were in Helheim. Different realms travel at different speeds. I think it's possible anyways. I think my first theory is more correct. But this time dilation thing, it could be the time that Kratos and Atreus killed Modi and Magni. Even though it's been 3 years, to Thor and the rest of the Asgardians it's only been a few days. I think maybe in Asgard time is going by faster than it is on Midgard. So to them it hasn't really been that long, which kind of makes sense because gods experience time at a different pace. In Lore and Legends, if you look up the conversation with Kratos and Atreus, Atreus asks Kratos, why did you not notice that Faye was a mortal woman if she's been living with you for a long time and she didn't age a day? And Kratos responded, if you lived a few centuries like he has, centuries and time feel different, and that he didn't even notice all of this time was going by, thus him not paying attention to Faye's aging face. Gods experience time different because they've been alive for so long. So maybe 3 years to the Asgardians is just a few days. They just experience time a lot differently, and the realm is constantly going faster than the rate of Midgard. Everything is relative to one another, so I think that this is also a pretty cool concept that is somewhat believable. So these are my two explanations on why Thor waited 3 years to exact his revenge. He is pretty pissed according to the PS blog's summary of God of War Ragnarok, but let me know what you all think. I think that this is a pretty cool theory. The answer to the trivia question is Persephone. If you beat Persephone in Chains of Olympus, she utters these final words that your suffering will never end, Ghost of Sparta, which is true. Even Kratos leaving Greece and going to Norse mythology, it's still pretty fucked up how he's constantly suffering and he's constantly going through these trials and tribulations. Even the Fallen God comics, he was pretty fucking miserable. His suffering will never end, but at least in the suffering he can find some happiness in being his own son and Faye. But I think that it's a really cool concept. But that's it for my time. I gotta work on another video. I'll probably have one out by tomorrow, I hope anyways. I'm gonna be out of here. Thank you guys and girls for listening. Deuces.